So with that, am I allowed to take now? We're good now. Okay, let's get the show on the road here. There are 4 topics that we're going to focus on. Pragmatism and vision, price adjustments, procedural efficiencies, local control and incentives. Some of this is driven by a conversation we had when we went, a few of us went to visit, have a meeting with Deputy Minister Freddie Min and Sue Lowe, who is the Assistant Deputy at the Renewable Energy Finance Facilitation Office, and the staff. And we said, before we go too deep into this, we want to check our assumptions with you. So we came with about 6 or 7 assumptions. They were pretty tight-lipped, but we got a good read on where we're on and where we're off, because we don't want to be too wild and too way out there. So this is kind of based on that initial feedback, and we're trying to make this really tight and say, look, there's two major things, price and procedure, but there's also this issue of municipalities and LDCs, local control and incentives. And then there's the big picture about what is the vision and what's really practical, pragmatism. So on pragmatism and vision, I'll be starting things off, and then I'll turn it over to Kathleen, and she will be focusing on some more pragmatic issues. Key assumptions. So the key assumptions in this area, and again, check this out, make notes. I disagree, I agree, but we want your feedback. FIT 2.0, which is what we're calling, and I think others are starting to call, this new phase of FIT, should be pragmatic, but an ambitious program that creates clean, cost-competitive electricity. That's number 1. But it's also a job creation program, and it should be jobs that are sustainable, and it should have a sustainable marketplace. And C of this is that we need more than that. There's an opportunity here. The government, with Premier McGuinty, really stepped forward and had a vision of creating Ontario as this global hub. And he was pitching this before the election. And we would be a regional hub for PV products, implementation expertise to America, to North America, to the world. So we're operating under these assumptions that this is what the program should be. And that being that regional hub, that global leader, means exporting innovative products and technical clean energy expertise, showcasing efficient processes related to approvals and grid connection, and developing and attracting high-quality companies. So when I think about the vision, and I want to focus on just a few points, the first thing is, and this was very clear in our meetings with the ministry, that they're concerned about the ratepayer. And we're all concerned about the ratepayer. We're ratepayers. But I want to say, and I want to propose to you, that we need a very strong PR campaign. The industry has been, let me say, pathetic in that regards. We just haven't been promoting ourselves. And 80.2 cents is a huge target, and opponents of the industry can easily exaggerate that and mislead people. But it is misleading, even for the government, to say that prices need to come down for PV because it's making electricity prices go higher. They are not. You could keep the prices exactly the same as they are right now, and it will not make any significant dent on ratepayers' bills. Why can we say that? Because PV is only 1.5% of the energy mix by 2030, according to the OPA's long-term energy plan. So no matter how high the prices are, it's really insignificant. More than that, FIT rates are not tied to inflation, so as this happens over the next decades, even 80.2 cents isn't a lot of money necessarily, and electricity rates go up. So we need to have a PR campaign. Whatever the prices are, we need to argue vigorously that they do not make much of an impact at all on ratepayers' bills. This is especially true of microfit, under 10 kilowatts, and small solar, which is under 500 kilowatts. That's probably much less than 0.5%, because of the 1.5%, a lot of that is taken up with the large solar farms. Next point is if the vision is job creation, and as recently as October 24th in Toronto Star, Minister Bentley He said, I believe the world is going greener. We might as well become leaders in the jobs aspect and be able to export our knowledge to the world, have the jobs right here. And I heard him speak both at the Community Power Conference, and he was speaking to a group that was embracing sustainable energy, and also at the APRO conference where he was talking to the establishment, and he was very adamant, this is a job creation program. We are going to create 50,000 jobs. And what does that mean? Well, even in that article and on the websites of the government, they say 50,000 jobs by the end of 2012. And that already 20,000 jobs are out there. And most of them are really PV projects because not a lot of wind has happened, and not a lot of wind projects create sustainable jobs. So there are a lot of contracts that have been offered. There's a lot that are to be expected. But what we want to say is FIT 2.0 should incentivize especially small and micro projects where the large portion of those jobs are created in sales and installation. It is critical that we have solar farmers. Those are going to really bolster the whole industry, the manufacturing sector. But at a certain point, there's some saturation. Right? There's only so much land, and you have to build transmission lines, and there are issues, but micro projects, small projects, it's ubiquitous. They can be everywhere. That's what will create a sustainable, ongoing program, both in sales and installation, and we need to focus if we're going to have real job creation program in that area. If we're going to be a global leader, create a regional hub, and this is a bit of a challenging thing we're proposing, somebody needs to be in charge. When we were meeting with Deputy Minister Amin, I asked him after December 14th, when you hand your proposals to Minister Bentley, are you staying on to implement these? Who's going to implement FIT 2.0? And he said, I don't know. He said, this is my mandate right now. I'll do what I'm told. But in many discussions, many of us have come to the conclusion that we're worried. No matter what we say, no matter what the government comes up with, what we come up with, who's in charge of implementing this stuff? Is there someone who's taking ownership to make the program successful? There's a lot at stake, not just for us, but for the government, in terms of revenues, in terms of credibility. But who is the person in charge, not just of the whole FIT program, not of all renewable energy, but of the solar sector, which requires a lot of interfacing with a lot of different companies, because the nature of solar is there are so many companies involved. So one of the ideas is that out there is an independent office of commissioner who must meet quarterly and annual mandates. That's his job, make this successful. Right now there isn't anybody like that. Now the problem is there's a precedent. There was a commissioner for conservation, and from what I hear, it wasn't the most successful program. And I also hear that there's a lot of hesitancy to add more official positions. They want to actually take more positions away because as a minority government, they're under criticism for having too much of a bloated OPA or too many agencies. But I worry deeply that there's nobody in charge. Part of this also is you have a problem who you turn to. Many people call the OPA and they speak to someone who puts them off. People mean well, but it doesn't seem like there's anybody in charge, particularly of solar and helping people deal with their problems. Now, if you're big enough of a company that you can afford to hire a government relations agency, and there are many companies that do that, well, maybe you can get in and get yourself heard, but many, many small and medium-sized companies cannot do so. So if we're going to really create Ontario as a leader, somebody's got to be minding the shop, running the business. Those are 3 points about vision that we're proposing, and now I'm going to turn it over to Kathleen to talk on some pragmatic issues.